Yo, yo, yo. It is another Tuesday and another episode of The Boy. This is the late broadcast episode. One of these days, we're going to have us in the studio and broadcasting out of this amazing place. Right now, it is just in the shop studios in Baltimore County, let me get this camera straight and let's talk about what is up. All right, so we're like, I don't know, a while in now into the whole coronavirus deal. The pandemic has set in. So I guess it's hard to say. I mean, I've been following this for a while because as I believe shared with you guys last week and weeks prior. I think some China Uncensored, and as you know, they've been talking about what's been going on in China for some time now, and so. I don't know. To me, it feels like it's been a while that this has been going on. But I guess it's maybe been a week-ish, maybe a little over a week now that we've been on like relative lockdown, self-quarantine, and some forced quarantine and lockdown happening around. So I'm a little cynical about it, and I hate to be so. I mean, people think by being sort of cynical, some folks out there may be thinking that I'm hoping for something bad, or I'm going to manifest it somehow by not having a lot of faith in the institutions of power in our society right now. That I'm going to end up making because I have a bad attitude about it. Not attitude. I just have a bad feeling because I just feel like I don't know. I don't have faith. I just don't have faith. Tell me why I'm wrong. The one person who's on, I'm guessing this is a super fan, probably super fan Chris. I'm guessing, unless it's one of the folks that were blowing him up, asking why do we not have the Boyd podcast happening? And it was happening. It just was, I don't know, issues were happening. Oh my God, come on. What's going on here? Facebook. Oh, got Facebook going. Facebook has a new live broadcast thing, if you guys didn't know. Okay, what the F? I don't know. I just know Facebook better not try to hijack my YouTube camera. I think it was doing that before. Oh man, no. It is not. Oh my God. It's just going to cause me all sorts of problems. So, bear with me. I'm really sorry. Having some issues. Trying to get, there is a reason why I'm trying to get Facebook on here. And the reason is because I need to get more folks to get on the show so we could get more opinions, more points of view. In fact, it looks like we've got one person on this now. My fault for showing up late. I'm not going to. By the way, I'm sorry for showing up late, and I'm not going to ruin an apology with an excuse. So I'm just going to say it's been hectic, and damn. So for whatever reason, there was a time when I used to be able to simulcast on Facebook and YouTube, and now I can't. And again, why am I trying to do this on Facebook? It is because I am trying to get some more viewers to come on. So, Superfan, who is on with us, make sure to get some folks. Dang, I don't know. I got to give up on Facebook, I guess. All right, so let's talk. Who's on with us? Let your presence be known in the comments section. We do have live chat comments or whatever you want to call it. So please join in. You don't even have to join a special Patreon or some kind of club. I was watching David Pakman, and I think you have to, in order to join in on his discussion. I mean, dude's got a lot of followers and whatever, but and subscribers, but still you have to subscribe and pay money and doobie in order to contribute and say a comment. So it's like almost all the comments that I see not all of them, a quarter of the comments that I see go through there, I swear, are like promotional things, because you got to get some ROI, you know what I'm saying? Right. So anyway, but some people want to just support stuff because, hey, why not? Because the people who you seek truth from don't necessarily give it to you. I think people don't realize how precious truth is, right? Put it this way, even some of our loved ones won't share the truth with us. That's how precious the truth is, right? Or how powerful it is in whatever way, negative, positive, whatever. Either way, that is the simple truth. So what do? If they're not in the business of truth, what are they in the business of? Well, of course, they're in the business of making money, is what it is. So if they're not able to make money, what's up? Tag and T, what's up? He came on Facebook. So jump on to the if you can hear, or if you're still on there at all, Facebook people, go to the YouTube link. YouTube is where it's at. YouTube people, we got two very special people on this earth, out of the billions of people that we have on this planet. Two people are tuned in right now to talk about what the hell is going on. Now, like I said, I'm cynical. I'm cynical about what is about to happen, because I think a lot of people feel like it's not a crazy thing to say that whatever's going on now, economically, looking at the economy, that it's not going to be, that it's not crazy to say that this will be worse than 2008, right? And 2008, really, when we say 2008, we say that as a point of reference, because that's when shit really hit the fan, 2008. But the real issue, the real problem started in 2007. So the real financial issue in the financial markets and the crash within the financial market happened in 2007. The real ramifications and ripple effect through the market, and the effect of foreclosures and people being out of work, and the people that are losing their jobs, and belly up businesses and all that kind of stuff, that took about a year to kick in. I'm trying to think, was it around that time we also had Occupy Wall Street, people out of work, all that stuff because of the bank system, and all this stuff collapsed because it's a big house of cards. A lot of people can admit that the Fed system, the banking system that we have, the just the method of our taxation and the way we handle things in our economy, within our government, is a house of cards. It's just about ready to collapse. And yet, when we talk about its inevitable collapse actually happening, we get nothing but poo-poo responses, like it's not real, like nothing's going to really happen. So on one hand, we acknowledge the fundamental flaws that exist, but on the other hand, we don't acknowledge the reality that the fundamental flaws have ramifications in material reality, right? Because we have been jaded by almost a religious zeal for this, for the system, right? That's really what it is. All right, so yeah, I don't know what's going on with my Facebook. I guess just forget it. We're not gonna get any freaking more people on Facebook. So what is up? 2 people on YouTube. What are your thoughts? No, like I said, there's a couple reasons I'm not very optimistic. Number one, we understand it will be worse than 08. Okay, so what does that mean? If 08 was bad, we made it through, we lived. Some people went through tremendous pain. Some people didn't make it. How worse? I don't know what worse is. Will this trigger a depression? If there are systematic issues already prevalent within the economy and within the structures of finance, and now you have a major jolt to the system, and now it doesn't have a way to recover, then what? Right? We had the Great Depression, and we think that will never happen again, that kind of condition will never happen again. And it might not. But what would it have changed necessarily? Well, number one, the means of production have changed. So we have now entered a new era where technology and knowledge has come to a juncture where we can produce so much that we can produce in abundance for people at a relatively low cost. What have we done with that capacity? We have squandered it for profit. Bingo. That's it. That's all we've done. So all the money that you see, right? If you think about it, there's really X amount of money. All the money that you see when we say that, a very small percentage owns a very large majority of those assets, then you start to understand that the rest of the people are squabbling over a very little piece of what is left over. That system shows you the capacity of humanity, but the system structure that allows for that level of hoarding to exist creates an inevitable collapse for itself. It's going to happen. I mean, it's crazy. I'm listening just as I'm working on things in the shop. I got some projects going on. I'm trying to just tackle while under the general, social distancing that we got going on. What was I going to say? Damn it, I can't remember. Oh yeah, and so sometimes I mix between a little bit of DJ Complexion. He's got some dope tracks. He always finds these good songs, so I could work for hours to DJ Complexion, but I got to the point where my mind starts really racing and working, especially when I'm working on something like that's sort of tedious, like filing down some metal or doing some shaping or something like that, and I just have to do some gradual work. And my mind starts going, sort of drives me nuts. So I've been listening to Frederick Engels and Karl Marx, Capital. So far, volume one. Again, just to sort of, it's a decently heavy amount of literature there. If you've ever tried to tackle Capital, and in that he really spends a lot of time trying to make this argument that the value of anything that we are selling out in the marketplace, other than even raw material, because it has to be acquired by human labor, right? That these things get value by the labor that's put into them. So the labor is the source of the value of that commodity. Otherwise, then there wouldn't be value, or the commodity, excuse me, the exchange form of that commodity wouldn't exist without labor. Now, one could argue that the exchange form and therefore the labor wouldn't exist without the buyer, right? So that's an argument there. And I think there is a yin and yang situation there. And I feel like Karl Marx, though, on one hand, is giving a very critical analysis of the machinations of capitalism. On one hand, on the other hand, he spends a lot of time like describing a tree that's on his way to another place. If that makes sense. So it's like going down this path, and like you see this oak tree, and you spend like 3 huge chapters of a book dedicated to describing the acorns on the oak tree and how it shaded your path in going to where you're trying to get. I mean, and I get it, because you have to make this criticism, because there are people that will say that the laborer should simply be all too ecstatic to be exploited by the capitalist, because without it, they would have no job. And Karl Marx is making a point that without the labor, there would be no value to whatever the commodity is you're trying to sell, or whatever crap. Anyway, at the end of the day, I think we all can sort of agree that without someone putting up the capital, without the plan, without the people, process, and let me back up. Without the process and product in mind, sometimes people without that organizational capacity or structure put in place would not be able, or they could, but maybe without that means, they wouldn't necessarily form into something like a business. So for what I'm trying to get at, like let's say you're going to be manufacturing tires or something. I don't know, or you want, or let me make it more simple, I guess. Maybe you open a mechanic shop or something like that. There might be a bunch of people on the block that understand how to work on cars or work on mechanical things, but that doesn't mean that they will coalesce automatically into creating a business entity. So let's say someone creates this, goes ahead and organizes through whatever capital capacity they have. Either they find a loan or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they're born with it. I don't know. Maybe it's Maybelline. But they end up opening this business, and they create this procedure, and they create the process, and they create the structure, and they fill it in with the right people. So now you have the people, the product, and the process, or all together, right? All three, in whatever order you want to put it together. And so because that one person created and did all of those things, in our current social dynamic, the creator and capital infuser is therefore the owner of that enterprise. And so the workers themselves become commodity, right? Their labor does not become partner, as capital would be partner. We honor capital as partner. We don't honor labor as partner. is the problem in our culture. Um, I'm going back through Capital to see if Karl Marx really captures the essence of that. I think what we can sum up in all of Karl and Frederick Engels' discussion, we can, in a way, sum it up to say that it's basically trying to justify the laborer and the way that the labor imparts value upon this commodity or this item, right? That's exchanged for money or other, probably money. Not usually do we barter with these items. Anyway, I think we can sort of come to the conclusion that, yeah, without the laborer, the capitalist can only go so far, right? Because they would have to do everything themselves. If at some point they have to hire out for help because they can't scale out, right? Once you use the term scale out and you include someone other than yourself, you have now either you've either created a system of exploitation where you're treating this person as a commodity, or you have honored their labor by giving them a conduit for ownership eventually in the enterprise, right? And as such, as part owner, there may be stipulation as to adjustments in compensation and other things that go along with the business. But if there are adjustments to compensation, etc., then there should be also democratic input into into changes that occur in the company or whatever enterprise, because their pay is affected. Right now, we have a system where, let's say Boeing does something really stupid. They can lay off a whole bunch of people because the CEO did something stupid, or like some mid-level manager calls a stupid shot and his division gets axed, or they make a stupid, whatever it is, and now people are getting laid off. So through no fault of their own, they get laid off, right? And so they have no democratic control over their own fate, right? And so that is the culture that we have. It's not so much a business thing. It's more of a culture. It's like, just like slavery wasn't so much of a business thing as it was a culture thing, right? There is a business aspect to it, but if culture doesn't even allow the discussion of the contemplation of the possibility of enslavement of another human, then there is no real business discussion about enslavement of a human, right? At the same time, if we still allow for the rental of humans, then there is definite business warranted business discussion about human leasing and rental. Well, leasing and rental, versus if we said, no, there is no such thing as human leasing. I guess you could enter some kind of contractual agreement for compensation or whatever, by whatever means, not to say that there should be there should be that contracts or something should be banned, or contract work or whatever. People should be able to enter into whatever contracts and deals they want to as individuals. That's fine. However, long-term, if there's like a long-term participation in an enterprise, should equate to some level of ownership in the enterprise, right? Because without your labor, that enterprise couldn't exist. And they could say, well, without this job, then you wouldn't exist. But au contraire, if there was a choice, if you were allowed, say, for instance, to go live off the fat of the land, and you had 40 acres and a mule, or some kind of capacity to not have to enter into exploitation, meaning become a wage slave somewhere. If that were the case, then maybe some people would leave the workforce. You see what I mean? And if they were to leave the workforce, then wages would adjust, all sorts of stuff would change, right? So, so that's one aspect of it. So, am I saying that we should have something like the commons? That there, when I talk about this sort of crazy idea of what, you know, of people living off the land and all that stuff, that used to exist, and we had that in that was like the frontier, western frontier in the United States, and in other places that was the commons, and maybe we did have an area sort of known as the commons here. People lived in their shack or whatever they did, and they just went and hunted rabbits and deer and had a little crop, and they pickled their vegetables from the summer so it would last through the winter, and they better store up a bunch because it might be cold, all that little house on prairie shit, right? There was a time when that kind of shit existed, and then through legislative means and other kind of hogwash, right, the commons become bisected, divided to the point where you can't go hunting, you can't do whatever, and then you can't make a living off the land anymore because they want you to contribute to the industry of the nation, right? So you get kicked off the land, and now you have to be exploited in the factory, otherwise you die homeless somewhere and kicked off the land through force of violence, through the through the purveyors of violence, the government, right? The monopolists of violence. Anyway, let's see if we can get this stupid Facebook thing to work, because let's see what's going on. What is going on? I don't. There we go. We got Michael W. has jumped on. We got three people out of the billions of folks in this world that are probably watching something live. Probably Donald Trump doing some stupid shit on air. God. We have now identified, you really, after watching him, this imbecile, after watching him just embarrass our nation and embarrass himself on national TV over and over again, we have to realize as a nation that we have a segment of a population that has been overcome by a cult. We have not only that, we have a cult leader as our commander-in-chief, the president of our country, is this psychopathic cult leader. That is the reality we're facing, and it's not like we live in a world, right? We live in a world where I say stuff like this just off of observing this guy, right? Just observing. Like, I don't care if he was a good president. I would be the first to say he's a good president. I don't care about these people as people. I don't know them. I just expect them to do their damn job, right? The guy's president. Be president, right? Lead our country for the good of the damn people. I think that's what the president's supposed to do. I don't even know what the president's supposed to do anymore. This whole country's been overcome by Wetiko. I don't know what anybody thinks anything. I'm good. I got a whole bunch. I don't know what anybody is. I don't even know what our culture is anymore. I think we've all been infected with the first virus we really should have worried about, that we've already been infected. Not everybody, but a large number of people have been infected with, is Wetiko, the Wetiko psychospiritual virus. All right. Michael W., what is up? Thank goodness you are on, because the other two folks who have been hanging out are not contributing to the Chizat. So what's up with this at? Oh man, come on, Facebook, don't give me this crapola. Facebook's kicking. Oh my god. Oh my god, this stupid thing. All right, well, they're just gonna have to deal with this, I guess. It's blanked out. Maybe there's a way. What was I gonna say? All right, let's see what Michael W's got to say. He says, "My dad basically lived like that: hunted, trapped, canned, everything. I have 9.7 acres in Michigan still left to me from him." There you go. So there was a time, right? Terrible question, maybe. But if you knew that a total economic collapse was the only thing that would ever make a more mutualist, cooperative-based economy possible, do you think it would be worth it? Or too much pain and Trump is a dangerous fool? I mean, look, we're in an economic slow collapse anyway. It's like we're only a few election cycles, not even a few elections, couple election cycles, one election cycle away from people allowing their children to go to work. I mean, this might be a situation where we have libertarians justifying child labor again, and we might be having kids working, and we've already got Mike Rowe doing Koch brothers bidding crap because he's a sellout. Putz, sham artist. I don't know or snake oil salesman. This guy, this charlatan, the Mike Rowe. The dude tells you to ditch your dreams, but bring your passion with you, and just do what's available to you. Meanwhile, that asshole chased his dreams and doesn't actually do any of those fucking jobs. He's an actor. Fucker's an actor. And then he has this safety third initiative. Literally safety third. Meaning the whole premise behind it is, hey, you're an adult. Just keep it safe. Right? All this other shit, the OSHA stuff, that's hogwash. Get rid of that. That's why we're going to China. That's why America's suffering. Right? It's this kind of dumb ass nonsense, right? And next thing you know, I'm going to be playing the fucking the dying coal miner and saying, what the fuck? We got dudes singing about dying coal miners from the 1930s, and now we're going to circle right back the fuck around again because Mike Rowe and his safety third bullshit, right? It's that kind of it's like we're on our way back to the Gilded fucking Age, right? And we can pay. People make so much damn money, so much inconsistent money. What I'm saying is the capacity for exploitation is so immense that the disparity between capital relations, right, and the amount of capital that people have has so much gravitational pull. They just get more capital. And then with that capital, they can buy the politicians that they need to buy. So OSHA, what is that? Right? Oh, pandemic awareness and the pandemic response team. Yeah, fuck that thing. Right? Let's get rid of that in 2018. Right? Here we are. These are real things. We have a group of people in our population who will 100% turn a blind eye to reality in order to protect and support an idiotic, psychopathic fool, right? People say, oh, well, he's smart because he made so much money and blah, blah. He was born with money. He was born into the money. This is just nonsense. Almost anybody else. Like I could throw a rock and hit any of my neighbors, and I'd be like, you know what? If you started with the shit Trump started with, I would give you a fighting chance that you'd be better off than he was, because that dude is an absolute moron. period, end of discussion. Ever since everything I've ever seen him in, I've gone back and tried to listen to him from the 80s and shit, in the 90s, and the height of his supposed success. And the dude is a freaking moron. He's surrounded by people that have some kind of brains. He was able to maybe pretend to talk like them, and they somehow made him smart a little bit, just because he said some things that sounded sort of right. The guy is an absolute moron. I'm sorry. He is. And what's worse is there's people who will defend him almost to the death. And it makes me wonder, either are they mentally deranged, or they are just trolls. We have created a nation of trolls. People who don't have principles of their own. They only have the anti-principle of yours. You know what I mean? And it's like that is the other aspect of what we have in this nation, right? We have people who will take a contrarian position, whether they will burn themselves. They will destroy themselves in order to take a contrary position, to make a point on principle. And their principle is simply your anti-principle, right? Just because they hate that you have that principle. It's like people who hate millennials because in their mind, millennial is the Fox News conjured blue-haired, blue short-haired nose ring, multiple earrings, boots, and Nirvana looking grunge outfit millennial trope kind of caricature that Fox News and Blaze have created. And as long as they are not that, and virtue signal that they are not that, that is what they are, right? Whatever they perceive the caricature to like or want, they are not that, right? They've created this sort of sideshow enemy, and they are vehemently not that thing. They are the ultimate Don Quixote, the quixotic strawman hunters. That is a major part of our population. And I really almost wonder, because if you look in history, what happened as empires decline or as societies start to sort of fracture, once there's an identifiable, very stringent line in the sand and identifiable groups, there is potential for massive upheaval. Like right now, you could say Democrat, Republican, but there's fractures within both. Like Trump, the imbecile, is fracturing some of the Republicans, because some Republicans, because the Republican Party has whatever torch they were carrying, attracted some intelligent people. And there are some intelligent people that still have a hold of some of their intelligence. And they're looking at Trump and they're saying, what the fuck happened? What the fuck happened to the Republican Party? What happened to our nation? What happened to politics? What happened to leadership? What happened to all of this shit? They are wondering that. And I don't know who they're turning to. I don't know. Right. In the Democrat side, you have the emergence of an actual left, and you have the basically the shunning of the Pelosi and the Schumer type people, the old guard corporate Democrat, the Bill Clinton, the Hillary Clinton, even the Elizabeth Warren, who's now shown her true stripes of who she really is in the grand scheme of things. All of these fakers, the Bidens, all of the basically everybody else that's dropped out of the race except for Tulsi. And even Tulsi, I wonder about Tulsi. She's something weird about her, right? So these people, there's a definite distinction, because these people have sold out the Democratic Party, and they have succumbed to the money and the power and the politics of the House of Cards game of the Hill, right? They have lost sight of the leadership role that they're supposed to play. Now there's a new surge. Some people hate them. right? But those people are the scared people who don't really know, don't understand what government's really supposed to be, right? Like people who are afraid of AOC, people are afraid of Ilhan Omar, people are afraid of Bernie Sanders, right? People like that are stoked by fear, that they're spoon fed, right? They're given the talking points of fear. Ask these people, what is your major source of information? I guarantee their major source of information is going to be the mainstream news, and up to and including the Fox and right-wing sources like the Blaze, etc. All right, so I've been rambling on. As far as the economic collapse, I think it's impending anyway. I think that we don't have to. There's no socialist movement that's going to force an economic collapse to create this mutualist cooperative based economy, blah blah. That's not going to be what happens. Either the extent of exploitation through the contradictions of capitalism that were not only hinted at and described by Adam Smith, the supposed like father of capitalism, but also in Karl Marx's critique, talking about the continued automation of tasks to the point where human labor will not be required to create production, or not only the means of production, but also, the produce of the means of production, but also the means themselves, right? So in that sense, in that place, where is human labor? What is that? I mean, with that type of manufacture potential, let's just pretend, let's take it to a logical end conclusion, the super conclusion, right? Kurzweil, science, all these people, right? I mean, who do you want to, if you've heard about the singularity, you know that technology has an exponential growth curve, that you can understand that Westworld is not that far away, that cyber, like that we can create artificial intelligence that's on the verge of mimicking human cognition almost. I mean, maybe not, but they can do simple tasks. Like you could go get your car washed now and you don't really need a human to be there, right? We've eliminated something. And there are people I know probably 10 years ago that probably thought, no, you can't eliminate every single thing a human would do in a car wash. Well, we're pretty much can, yes, right now. And by the way, we're probably less than a decade from completely automating it and not even we can have a robot come and check on all the damn car washes in a freaking region. At autonomous robot car thing can go check all the car washes. You just drive it through and it sees it, checks it, interfaces with everything, blah, 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 has sensors all over it, make sure there's enough soap, that it's even, blah. I might just invent the damn shit myself. But look, I'm telling you, whatever it is, I don't care what kind of special ass job. There was I remember, oh man, it wasn't even that long ago. It was like on LinkedIn or some stupid shit. And I saw some post about AI stuff, right? And these people were like, oh, well, there go our jobs and da-da-da. And then some idiot was like, I'm a translator. I'd like to see them use AI to take my job away. And someone's like, it's like, hello, technology is on an exponential curve. People don't understand exponential curve. They don't understand exponential growth for this virus. They don't understand, right? I don't understand. I just know that shit's for real, and that shit's going to be nuts. And so what? Logical conclusion. Karl Marx is saying basically what could happen once the means of production reach the point where human input is minimalized. We have the potential for luxury space communism, right? What does that mean? That means that basically the robots do everything. And what do? We just try to maximize ourselves as humans. We are just be the best fucking humans that we could ever be the smartest people, the most artistic people, the most philosophical people, the most. What the fuck is it to be human? What does it mean to be a human? Why are you different from an animal? If you can't answer that question, then you need to go back and figure the fuck what you are compared to an animal. But whatever it is that makes us human and differentiates you from a freaking animal, go be better at it, right? That's what we could be doing instead of plowing away our lives until we die to help someone else make a whole bunch of money doing some menial bullshit that may or may not matter, just because in aggregate there's enough money to be made to go do some bullshit, whatever. You see, when it's a self-fulfilling, self-serving, snake eating its own tail kind of shit. You know what I mean? All right, there was a good rant there. Let's see what kind of comments we have. And I have totally not even said anything about Superfan Kate. What is up? Thanks for tuning in. We got 4 folks on. I've got 2 people on the chat. We got 2 lurkers. What is up? Let us know what is happening in your world. All right, cat's not my name. I'm here cleaning while listening. All right. So yes, taking care of her isolation activities. Michael W. Left Libertarians Unite. Michael W. Yang is the only one that really addressed that. Well, yeah, Yang addressed it, but UBI really, I joked about this on some forums and stuff. Big Yang fans got mad at me. The thing is, he addresses it to some point through UBI, but UBI is really, it's a stopgap, because you are simply taking, you're skimming off the top of the exploiters so that you can give back to the economy or to the people, or what? Eventually, are you just going to sort of extract from the people with the robots, and then you're using them to pay everyone else, so to not, that don't have the robots, to either save up enough to do their own robot stuff, or, you see what I mean? I mean, it doesn't fundamentally address labor and capital relations. That's the main problem, the cultural problem, that it's not okay to own somebody, but it's okay to rent them. That we don't have a guaranteed means for ownership. Like, for instance, Boeing people may or may not have made the same moves had they had democratic control of that company. So meanwhile, they have faulty stuff going out there in the world, right? And meanwhile, mid-level, upper-level management, all these guys are fine. If there's a hit to the company, whatever, they got some layoffs coming. Okay, where do those layoffs come from, right? Executives and shareholders, they're fine. So meanwhile, someone could have worked there 15 years. That 15 years of labor time that they had no choice. They had to work for someone, and they chose Boeing. They could have worked anywhere else, but they chose to hitch their wagon to Boeing. Boeing made a stupid mistake. Now they are getting axed, right? They have no ownership stake in that company. They should have automatic ownership stake. They would not have been able to build that company to where it was now without their help. They should get some level of equity. Now, you could say, well, they would get the shares, but then, hey, the shares dropped, everyone's shares dropped, da-da-da. Okay, that's part of ownership. That's fine. Guess what? CEO shares drop too. Shareholder shares drop too. It's okay. Everybody's shares drop. That's fine. Right? And what was I going to say? Let's see. Oh, yes. We have some Facebook folks. Hold on. Let me jump over to Facebook real quick. So, folks on, we got, hold on. We got some folks on that came over from Facebook. So, welcome. And yes, Michael W. Left Libertarians Unite. So one thing that people don't understand is, in the United States, we have this quote unquote Libertarian Party. And the main whole premise with them is some kind of an anti-government, but like they have this anarcho-capitalist component to it, right? They still want to be, they want more freedom to exploit more freely, whereas any other libertarian in any other sense of global name for the or for that term is really looking at practically Marxism, right? Karl Marx, when he was talking about communism, hold on one second. I'm not good at multitasking. I wish I was. I'm trying to tell my what do you call? Let's see, the Facebook folks, trying to tell them that they need to what do you call it? Go to Facebook and go to YouTube instead of Facebook. Man, I don't know, but Facebook screwed up. Where is my YouTube channel link? Stand by. All right. So meanwhile, this is a perfect time for you guys to chat and throw in your opinion and tell me what you think about what the hell is going on. And meanwhile, I'm trying to get these Facebook people. All right, here we go. Yeah, so yeah, Yang, sorry. I mean, yeah, at least he brought it up. I think it's dangerous right now for any politician to try to talk about labor capital relations. It's way too, I don't know. Well, maybe right now at this very moment, but once this election cycle passes, I think it'll be around that time. It'll be around that time to start talking about capital and labor relations, and that the fact that you should not only not be able to own people, you should not be able to rent people, and if you do rent them, that they at least have some capacity to, have a vector towards ownership. Now, I know people try to game the system, so the question would become, how do you ensure that people don't game the system, et cetera? So, we still got to hash. We would still have to hash those things out, and we still want maximal freedom. But at the same time, we have a situation where we may have, there's an inevitable conclusion where everything's going to collapse. I mean, the monetary system can't go on the way it is. Everyone just says it'll just keep going. I mean, it won't. I mean, we see that it has systemic issues. We saw back in the previous crash that it has issues. And on the backs of laborers, we just keep it going. And there's all these stopgaps and all these circuit breakers and all these special things in place to make sure the stock market and other components of the economy are safeguarded. But there's no such safeguard or safety net or circuit breaker for the American working class. And, that is a sad truth that we have to live with as a nation. And, I wish there were politicians talking about these kinds of things. Had a guy in my neighborhood ask me why I wasn't in politics. I don't know. Well, one of the main reasons is because, number one, I imagine that there's people out there that would be better at doing it. So why aren't they doing it, and why aren't they better? I don't know. So there must be other barriers. So one other thing is, hell, I might run eventually if people were down to help support a campaign and I don't know, help me run. I would do it. I can't do it by myself. I don't know how to organize and do all that stuff. My focus is on trying to convey the gravity of the situation to the American people. I mean, I really feel like that we as a nation have lost a sense of what it is to be a nation of citizens, together. And I think a lot of that can be summed up in the original virus that I was talking about, and that is the psychospiritual virus of Wetiko. It's yeah, I mean, it's just basically, let me find this for you. I'll show you. Let's try this out here. All right. Michael W. says, I've been around political campaigns since I was a child. I'm in. Are you saying that you will help organize a political campaign for me to run for office? If so, then let's talk. Because, it's interesting enough that we're having this discussion, because so this neighbor tells me this, and another neighbor comes up and tells me that he has a meeting with a upcoming congressional candidate who was spurred into running by another member of Florida Congress. I don't know if it's Florida State Congress or if there's a Congress member going. It's like a representative, or not a senator. But anyway, I have an opportunity to meet with them tomorrow. And I don't know what the premise is necessarily, but I don't know. They're having sort of a brainstorm session, I guess, to talk about some policies and some different ideas to take on and just discuss. So like, and sort of how to create his platform. I mean, he's almost starting from scratch and really like trying to figure out like, okay, how am I going to, what platform am I running on, etc. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So my superfan Michael W says, I would certainly help out as much as I'm able. Hey man, I will take as much help. Look, I never really thought about taking it serious. Last couple of years, more and more people have been talking about it and asking about why haven't I run, or if, I mean, there's Republicans that are like, I hate Democrats, and you sound almost like a Democrat, but something about you is different. And you also don't sound like a Democrat because Democrats also hate you. And they're like, I would vote for you. Why don't you should run? You don't sound like these other people. Okay, let's try it out. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if there's the opportunity coming up. And then the question would be like, what would I run for? I don't know. But let's all talk, and then I will run for what you guys say. Basically, you guys can all help me with out with that. All right, so here's a real quick little synopsis of Wetiko, the psychospiritual virus that I'm talking about, the virus that has already inoculated our society. Let me read it to you. Some of the folks that are tuned in can read this. I know Superfan Kate's out there cleaning, and so maybe she is not able to see the screen. So I'm going to read it off. Pardon me. Let me take a sip of my drink real quick. And here we go. So this is what I think our nation has succumbed to, and this describes why we are seeing what we are seeing, and along with the rise of Trump, I think is explained, and also to some degree Hillary. And we can talk about that in more detail later. All right, so here it goes. According to Native Americans, Wetiko is an evil spirit that invades human minds. It is a virus of selfishness, a physic. Oh, wait, no, a physic. I want to say they want to say psychic, but psychic. Anyway, a pathogen forcing the victim to feed their insatiable needs as if they were starving. It makes humanity become its own worst enemy. This interesting yet unsettling view comes from a piece of literature we think everyone should read. Paul Levy. Levy is an admirer of Carl Jung's legacy and a regular columnist for The Guardian. He wrote a literary piece titled "Dispelling Wetiko." God, this is a terribly formed sentence that deserves, or paragraph that deserves some reflection. Levy says that we live in an era where most psychosocial phenomena proves the existence of a virus of selfishness. Wetiko is a word that Native Americans used to designate an evil person who never worries about the well-being of others. And then he goes on to say, the Levy legacy wishes to leave with his book. Okay, so it goes on to talk about it. So the idea of Wetiko is really what I wanted to get at, and that is something that can be passed from one person to another. So that's why it takes on this descriptive of a virus, psychospiritual virus. I mean, and it sounds sort of weird. Psychospiritual, what does that even mean? You know, like, I guess. And so, what was I getting at? Anyway, it's something like, okay, so some people, maybe they're religious and they talk about the whole God thing and whatever. There is an equivalent in the Christian sort of canon, I guess, or not canon, but in the Christian doctrine, the teachings of Jesus basically go against Wetiko for the most part, right? So pretty much he is working to dispel the psychospiritual virus of selfishness and of cannibalization of your fellow man, woman, whatever, your fellow human, that you would just as soon consume them to feed yourself. Like the image of the Wetiko spirit that is the image of the spirit is one of a gigantic stomach, like this giant corpulent, aka like obese, like body of maybe a human or something, or just a stomach with an extremely small head. And the spirit is never able to satiate its never-ending appetite. So it's constantly feeding and feeding, and it will never reach its satisfaction. That is Wetiko, and that is the virus that has taken over our. It's taken over our world, and especially our country. And I think that we're going to see. I think we're going to see a major.
For more, wondering how did we get here?
I think I might have played this. Hold on 1 second. Man. I think I've seen this before. I really didn't. These maybe, I don't know if it's the charm of the show or if it's going to be the demise of the show. But these things are sort of off the cuff. So hopefully this is the right video. I want to share a video with you guys real quick if I didn't just ruin something here. But let me find this. Share this video. So this is Dispelling Wetiko. I think this is an intro to this guy's book or something like that, Seeing Wetiko. So introducing you to the idea of Wetiko.
Greed has made a home of us. We have built walls that displace others. Corporations have wallpapered themselves into the tapestry of daily life. Politicians who sit on screens and promise more of all the things we think we need. We are alone inside of this home of fear, hungry for more, wondering how did we get here? The pathology of greed is eating us from the inside like a cancer. Poverty, war, division, environmental catastrophe are corners of a home our children know too well. What earth will they inherit as we consume our way towards a makeshift freedom? Are we too afraid to see? Cree Native Americans named Wetiko as a cannibalistic entity taking over the mind in an insatiable and lethal embrace. Wetiko is characterized as a psychic starvation that leads to an insatiable hunger. Our collective imagination was an open door. Now we pretend our individualistic consumerism is a sign of our strength. True strength only exists in the embodied presence. Yet we are like fallen leaves. Wetiko has spread like a silent, causing a deafening collective scream. To see Wetiko is to dispel its hold on us. Our disconnection is mirrored in the world around us. The violence against each other and this earth is a maddening reality. Are we willing to hold the flame to the hollows of self-deception? The disease of loneliness is spreading like an epidemic. A single tree standing where there was once a forest. Conscious awareness is sunlight to the hidden corners of Wetiko. Compassion is the dissolver of Wetiko. Awakening from the delusion of separation reveals that in truth, we were never disconnected. We are all interconnected.
All right, so Dispelling Wetiko, pretty cool spoken word, neat video, etc., etc. So hopefully that gave you a sense of what I'm talking about. I mean, I think that I liked her words. I thought it was very poignant the way she described the corners of the house that the children, like these abused children, know, like what we are doing, what we really, there's the Royal Institute had a speaker recently that was really displaying the impact the boomer generation has had on subsequent generations, and this idea that they have basically embodied Wetiko. They have not at all thought about their time as borrowing the earth for the future from the future generations. They do not at all think that. They only think from themselves first and their own their own point of view. And in fact, practically every boomer that I've talked to has said, well, I'm only here for X number more years, so I don't really care. And that's a pretty common boomer thing to say. I'm going to die XYZ time in like a decade, couple decades. And so, fuck it. And I'm like, well, how about your kids? Well, I did the best I could to set them up for a good future. But, you know, meanwhile, they allowed for the world to fall apart. They haven't given enough foresight to think about the future generations. They've only given enough thought for to fulfill their own needs in the moment, and not reflect on how they've been given so much by their predecessors that they would just as soon squander for their own, so that their children would have none, and they would smile in their face and say, well, I had it hard, now you have it hard. Right? And that's like, that is the Wetiko. That is peak boomer. And I think that the subsequent generations, and I lament that Gen X hasn't stepped up to be better, you know, but whatever. We are our parents' children. So when you hear the boomers talk shit on all these subsequent generations, especially millennials, remember who the parents were. The failed, selfish Wetiko laden, infected minds of the boomer generation. The people who never had to fight World War II, who were able to allow their children to be drafted into a banker's war. Right? These are, and not even their children. I mean, their children allowed themselves. You know, they fought to some degree. Half of them fought, the other half to end it all. But then they all sort of just went along at the end, like, we're done now. All right, well, we'll just all go along with not giving a shit about the future. Not everybody, but you know, it's like, well, no one else seems to be doing anything, so I'm just going to go make ice cream or go start my own business or whatever. We got to make it somehow in this world. And so they, you know, went along with the economic boom and whatever, and here we are. Now we see what happens when you have a society that's easily manipulated and knows no history. All right, so let's see what else we got. Michael W. says, I can see this from a contemplative, progressive Christian and Jungian perspective as well, choosing the ego and or shadow side of separation over the collective consciousness and all that. Thanks for sharing. Very good. Yes, so keep in touch, sir. Thank you for your input. Indeed, and I think that this is the core issue that we have facing us, and maybe this can be, I think maybe if this can be the delineating factor in ensuring that shit, I don't remember what I was saying. What was it? Oh yeah. What I was going to say is, if this is the bifurcating factor, like I almost like want to, when I start hearing someone who has caught Wetiko, I may just say, whoa, like treat them like they got a virus. Or whoa, sorry, I'm sorry. It sounds like you have Wetiko. I just can't deal with you. I don't want to be around it. I want to catch it. I want to be influenced by Wetiko. And then they'll say, well, what are you talking about? Well, I mean, it's just the virus of, it's like getting rabies. You know, rabies supposedly makes you sort of lose your mind a little bit. You become aggressive, you know, the foaming at the mouth and get ravenous, whatever. And it changes your brain and how you act, right? So in the similar fashion, the Wetiko psychospiritual virus can infect your brain. You start to think it's okay. Well, these other people are doing it, so I'll do it. This is the way. This is how slavery becomes normal. Well, this is just the way. It's a common practice at the time. I mean, everybody else is doing. Like, hey, if I got some money, why shouldn't I be able to? The Johnsons got 5 slaves. I just wanted one slave. Come on. This is how shit gets normalized, right? It's a virus. It can go from one to another. It can spread in exponential form the same way a biological virus can, right? All right, so let's see. Somebody, Daniel Jernigan. What's up, Carl Kelly? Jennifer Smith, give it a chance. What is Jennifer Smith? Who's Jen? Oh, maybe he's tagging some folks. All right, Daniel Jernigan, what is up? So I don't know if you're still tuned in or not. I can't really tell what is going on with Facebook. It is all sorts of weird right now. Anyway, if you're watching on Facebook, tune in to the YouTube channel because Facebook is all sorts of ski-wampus. It does not want to stay on the camera. I don't even know if you guys can even hear me on Facebook. Good luck with that. All right, so we got two folks still tuned in on the YouTube channel. Throw your commentary in there. Tell me what you think. What is on your mind with this whole shit? I don't know, but I think that again we can sum it up and know that, and by basically acknowledging that our country and our brothers and sisters as citizens in our country have been overcome by the Wetiko psychospiritual virus, and what the fuck? I don't know. I don't fucking know. But if you want to talk about, let's say if you want to start, I'm thinking about starting a reading, it's sort of a reading dissection, I guess, a discussion of Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx, Capital. I'm not going to get into volume 1, 2 super deep, but if you want, I'll go through an outline of Capital volume 1 if you're reading that, and we can talk about it, and I can talk to you about how to sort of get Marxists to stop barking up the Marxist tree, and get them to talk about some of the real shit that's happening right now, because a lot of these guys get bogged down in academia type shit, whatever. Oh, I'm coming in on Facebook. I thought is the camera coming in and out? I mean, right now it looks like a blank screen. So Daniel Jernigan, what is up, sir? Thank you, by the way, for sharing this to a bunch of groups. So just in case you can't hear me, well, he says it's coming in. Well, so we'll put it in. Because it's only through your support, just like every other YouTube independent producer channel kind of thing. And this is really, I mean, right, this is how we get around the whole corporate media shit, right? Remember, man, just got to remember how precious the truth is. The people who love you, the people who care about you the most, sometimes withhold truth from you, right? I mean, like people don't understand how important the truth is, and the fact that the media is not in the business of giving you truth, right? It's not. They're not in the business of giving you truth. They are in the business of making money. They're in the business of business. They're not in the business of helping you. The people that love you, your closest people who are your best friends and everybody, they will lie to your face about shit because they don't want to hurt you, or they want to protect you, or they want to protect themselves. They do blah blah blah. They won't even tell you the truth. So do these strangers, these people you don't even know, these non-associated people, do you think they will tell you the truth because they love you? They don't fucking care about the truth. They care about money. They want the money, right? So you get these weirdos like me, or there's weirdos out there that are like, you know what? I care about this thing because here's the thing. Let me tell you why I believe that this stuff like this works. Because number one, here I am yapping about this bullshit, right? Why? I'm not getting fucking paid. Why am I doing it? Because I think that there's an important reason to do this, that we need to, and there might only be 2 people, 3 people, maybe up to 10 people at one time. It's a start. And as we start to bring more and more voices together, we can start sifting through this bullshit. And someday we will unify together. Some great unifier will emerge. And until then, right now, we're fucked, man. We are fucked. We have an idiot in the office. We have people who support an idiot in the office. We have idiots who are against the idiot in the office. We have idiots everywhere. We are surrounded by Wetiko idiots. I mean, it's like, okay, maybe they're not idiots, but they're like cocaine smart. They're coke smart, right? I got a buddy. I told the story before. I had a buddy of mine who was talking to me about how he's amazed at how smart, like, these coke, like when people get on coke, they get all smart and like they have all these like schemes and they know how to plot and do all this shit. And I'm like, dude, they are not smart. No, cocaine does not make people smart. It makes them scheme for more cocaine. No motherfuckers getting on cocaine and curing cancer. No fuckers going on cocaine and like fucking solving all the problems of the world. No, they're scheming shit to get more fucking cocaine. That's it. So yeah, are they smart? Is Trump smart? Sure. Yeah, he's smart at getting more cocaine. Yeah, he's smart at fucking swindling people. Yeah, is Pelosi smart? Yeah, at fucking playing a game. Yeah, is Pelosi smart? Yeah, she's smart at weaseling her shit. Right? That means you're coke smart. That's not smart. You're smart at scheming. That ain't smart. That ain't just useless smart. That's go fuck yourself smart. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Go get some fucking rehab shit. Get your family to somebody that cares about you to go fucking clean your act up. That's that kind of smart. I don't fucking want that smart. And that's the kind of fucking shit we get in the office. That's it. That's the belabored truth. Sorry. It's like every once in a while we have to look at the reality. We have to cut the fucking umbilical cord. We have to pull the fucking placenta out and put it some fucking place, right? It's nasty. But what comes from that? You have the birth of the nation, right? You have the birth of a beautiful baby. But you still have all that nasty bullshit, all this shit. I've never even had kids. I just know that there's shit. I know it exists, right? I've seen National Geographic. Look, human birth is not that different than fucking wildebeest. Sorry. It's not that different. And the shit, I mean, it's different. But as far as the general processes, as far as the animal, I mean, the baby connected to the umbilical cord, placenta drops out, blah, blah, mammal shit. We share that shit. Now, as far as labor time, development time, fucking all sorts of shit's different. Biology's different, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get pedantic about it. Anyway, look, that's what I'm getting at. Big rant. Spread the word. Daniel, love it. Thanks for sharing. Send it to whoever you can. And, we're just trying to build the viewers, build the audience so we can have more discussions. But with that, looks like we got one person on. I don't even know how many people we have on Facebook anymore. But if we do have folks on still with us, special outro. Hopefully I don't get in trouble with this. Maybe this is an old enough song that nobody will notice. But I want to leave you with a song from 1999. Deltron 3030 Project, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Dan the Automator, and I believe Kid Koala is also on the project with that. Virus, an apt song for our time. This has been another episode of The Void, and I will leave you with a little bit of Deltron 3030. Remember, crises precipitate change. This has been another episode of The Void.
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
That's right.
Crises precipitate change.
Secretly plotting your demise, I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch, trash your whole computer system and revert you to papyrus. I want to make a super virus strong enough to cause blackouts in every single metropolis, cause they don't want to unify us, so fuck it, total anarchy and can nobody stop us. You see, late in the evening, fucked up on my computer and my mind starts roaming. I create like a heathen. The first cycles of this virus I can send through a modem. Infiltration hits your station. No Microsoft or enhanced DOS will impede. Society thinks they're safe when bingo, hard drive crashes from the rending. A lot of hackers tried viruses before. Vaporize your text like so much whiteout. I want it where file replication is a chore. Lights out, shut down entire White House. I don't want just a bug that could be corrected. I'm erecting immaculate design. Break the nation down section by section. Even to the greatest minds, it's impossible to find. I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash the whole computer system and revert you to papyrus. I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash your whole computer system and revert you to papyrus.
I have already planned. The plan is programmed into every one of my 1,000 robots. We will not hesitate. We will destroy the Homo sapien. Please stay where you are.
Some shit in my basement. Don't tell him no. I love you. I want to develop a super virus, better by far than an OY2K. This is 3030, the time of global unification. Break right through they terminals, burn them all. Slaves to silicon, corrupt politicians with leaders and their keywords. FBI and spies stealing bombs, precipitate their plans in their face and catch the fever. Everybody loot the stores, get your canned goods. Even space stations are having a hard time. Peacekeepers seek to take our manhood, which results in the form of global apartheid. Ghettos are trash dumps with gas pumps, exploded and burnt out just before the Great Union. The last punks walk around like mass monks, ready to manipulate the database or break through them. Human rights come in 100th place. Mass production has always been number one. New Earth has become a repugnant place, so it's time to spread the fear that's fun to some.
Too long have we tried to extend our glorious empire out to the stars, only to be driven back.
I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash the whole computer system and revert you to papyrus. I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash the whole computer system and revert you to papyrus.